This is a town of about 2,000, and we have a circulation of about 2,000. I'm Eric Meyer. I'm editor and publisher of the Marion County Record. We've been around since the 1860s. My mother, Joanne, started working at the paper probably as soon as I was able to go to school. The world changed for us on August 11th. I happened to have been at my mother's house at the time where I was staying.
Eric Meyer?
Yeah.
We're here with the search warrant.
And there was a sheriff's deputy and a state fire inspector serving a warrant. At the same time, a group of them came to the office here, the newsroom. They took almost all of our newsroom computers. They also took our cell phones, took my laptop, took my mother's computer from her house. My mother became increasingly angry at the raid.
Don't you touch any of that stuff. This is my house.
The first thing I did was to tell them that I think you're doing something illegal.
You are violating state law.
That it was motivated possibly by animus that the chief had, that he wanted to find out what investigative material we had on him.
When I first heard that this happened, my response was, no, that can't be what happened. It was just so outrageous. You just don't hear of police raiding newsrooms, right?
We knew we had to do this story. We knew we had to get on it really quickly because this was something that we never wanted to see happen again.
The police chief was previously in Kansas City, and we wondered what his relationship was to Marion.
I was the primary police reporter, so I had developed some sources throughout the years, and your presence there pays dividends because people know you.
He was looking for who are the people who might know what the real story is about why this police chief left Kansas City.
He had an interaction with a subordinate and used some off-color language towards that person. He began to be under investigation, and rather than stick around for that investigation to play out, he just resigned and left the department.
The editorial part of this launched immediately. Dion Leffler in Wichita was closest to it in the early stages.
There are times when the paper needs to take a stand, and this I immediately saw as a moment that we needed to take a stand.
We knew we had to do an editorial, and we decided that we needed to do something even stronger than one editorial, and that's a joint editorial.
We're the only organized watchdogging of local government that there is. And without newspapers, without TV, radio, without strong journalism, those guys can do whatever they want.
I want the truth. Do you know what the truth is?
My mother was angry because it was wrong, because she was a journalist.
I called the house and got her on the line. When I talked to her, she was very upset.
You guys caused me to have another stroke. That's gonna be murder.
Eric Meyer's mother, Joanne, died the next day. It was just another layer of how incredulous we were that all this was going on.
In 40 years of journalism, I have never interviewed someone and had them die before I had the story in print.
Well, they're working.
I don't care what they're
So you
doing.
can go on through it.
To be 98 years old and go down swinging, that's a good end for a journalist.
I am absolutely convinced that the raid caused the death of my mother.
What this story says about the power of journalism is that it's still there. We need to stand up for each other. And when you attack a small paper, you're attacking all of us.
We have to be able to go in and tell these kinds of stories and not be fearful.
It was important to us, come hell or high water, we were going to have a paper that came out that week. We weren't going to let them win. That's just not going to happen.